Hello viewers, I'm SP and welcome back to Sunless Skies. So I decided, before leaving Albion again, that I would be even more thorough and try to track down the Well of the Wolf, and check this out, I think I've done it, because one of our crew members did say, hey, that's the well right there. And yep, it sure does have that very upsetting depth effect. So where do I have to be to interact with this thing? I kind of can't believe, like, we were so close to it. I assume it's going to appear on the map once we find the spot where we can interact. It's actually surrounded by rocks, this one. It's a little hard to get any closer than I currently am. And I'm kind of worried about our whole terror situation here, and also whatever it is that just saw us from up there. Oh, a curator. Great, good. This is a great time for that. Oh, those rocks are not on the same plane we are. I just kind of assumed they were. Well, you know what, curator? Take this. Boy, he's loud. Also, everything here is very loud. That was supposed to be a detonation. Fortunately, a dead curator is worth a fair amount of terror. So if we could just finish this guy off real quick. Come on, come on. Don't you try to escape from me. Hey, you come back here with my terror. Oh my god, he's gonna get away, because it took me so long to bring the train around. They actually do that? Ah, the Burrowers, but I do not have time for you right now, Mr. Burrower. Miss Burrower, I guess. Oh my god, I think he may legitimately have run away from us and taken all of our opportunity to lose terror with him. Well, I'm just extremely annoyed about that. Alright. So, since these rocks are things I can just fly over, let's try to get a little closer. Oh, here we go. This looks like the part of the, Yep, and now that we've gotten here. This looks like the part of the Well of Dreams that we interacted with. Okay, well, you gotta get right on top of this one to interact with it. Okay, where are we at? 66%. Disquieting nightmares as well. I think we're alright. A hole in the sky. Torrents of celestial mist pour into it. Shelves of black ice poke from its throat. One of the shelves extends over the well mouth in a narrow spur. At its end stands a pitted cast-iron bandstand. Well, you know what we have to do here. The well-wind bays like a dog, refusing to leave its master's grave. Your driver wrestles the rising winds. You'll land, but risk damaging your hull. I'm not too worried about our hull at this point. Your engine bucks like a dying pig. Its hull groans. Gritty black particulate clatters at the windows. With a last lurch, your locomotive crunches onto the grimy ice. Your driver exhales. A good landing, not a gentle one. When you emerge from your engine, the winds push at you like a schoolyard bully. The cold bites. Beyond the lip of black permafrost, the well mouth gapes, wide enough to swallow worlds. Away from the edge, a cluster of hexagonal cave mouths perforate an icy cliff face. The yellow eyes of devils gleam inside them. Let's start by talking to the Repentant Devil. There's something inside the well. You unlock this by having no useless cats. Huh. Well, maybe it's good we didn't take the cat lady on board? Here, let's start with the devil. I'm interested in what's going on with the rest of these guys, but let's start with our devil. There was someone he wanted to find, somewhere in one of these caves. In body, she is an older, even motherly deviless. She says nothing to him, though it's plain she recognizes him with pleasure. He, for his part, sits with her a long time, telling stories of the Iron Republic, of London as it used to be, of Parabola. He talks the way one might at the sickbed of a beloved unconscious patient, as much for one's own comfort as for theirs. At last, he runs out. How did you ever reconcile yourself, he says, to giving up the work? She doesn't answer. Before he can go, she offers him a document on papyrus, sealed with wax. Huh. So we can help him sympathize with her, which is kind of hard to do given, like, how incredibly vaguely their conversation has been treated. I don't even know what we're really talking about here. I do not understand, he says again and again on the way back down the cliff. Once she was an unstoppable force. Or we can help him direct his rage. If he's going to be angry, let him be angry at those who have reduced devils to this condition. Alright, maybe we do need to read a little bit more of what's going on here. Well, yeah, see, like, help him sympathize with her change from an unstoppable force in some way, presumably an unstoppable force of causing suffering, because that seems to be the only thing he would prize, into someone who just hangs out. She's not really interested in causing suffering. I really don't know. Okay, let's think about this from Sister Patel's perspective. This is a person who was sort of in the life, this woman, and now she's gotten out of the life. She's retired and gone square. How does Sister Patel, once of the Kingfishers, or the Fisher Kings rather, and presumably after that, a life of crime, feel about this person trying to go straight? I guess it sort of mirrors her own move onto this train. Like, we didn't necessarily intentionally give up a life of crime, but we're trying to put ourselves in a position where we don't have to live a life of crime, right? Because that's what it was for Sister Patel in her youth. It was because she had to. It's nice for people to be able to have options. I think Sister Patel sympathizes a little bit with this Deviless, as much as she can, knowing as little as she does of the situation. And so we're going to try to help him sympathize. Perhaps she has grown tired, he allows. Perhaps she is gathering her strength again. I suppose that would be an understandable response. The Repentant Devil has become more inclined to withdraw from the world. Well, that's maybe not 100% the outcome that we want, you know, because of the fact that we only have one person in that slot on our crew. Okay, let's check out these cave mouths and have a chat with the devils. They emerge, curious, from the caves. Once they were dapper in pinstripe or delicate in brocade. Now they wear rags. Pinstripe has faded to porridgey gray. You ask about their lives here. Silence. When you persist, one steps forward and opens his mouth as wide as he can. Plain song emerges, sweet, with a sonorous drone. The devil's lips and tongue aren't moving. The song is coming from deeper in his throat. You stand on tiptoes. The devil leans obligingly forward. You peer past his tongue, his tonsils, his gullet, and see a large compound eye, insectoid, iridescent, peering back at you from his chest cavity. The devil steps back. That is all for now, it seems. Oh, is that all? Huh. A large fragment of skyrock has fallen here. It has been graven by the wind or by long-forgotten tools into a bulbous shape, perforated by holes of different sizes. It moans. It whistles. The shapeless idol looms over you. Someone has scratched jagged teeth around each of its holes, transforming them into many, many mouths. A heavy hook is affixed onto the stone, just higher than you can reach, while at the base of the idol 2 depressions have been dug into the ice. The first holds a knout, with hooks knotted in its thongs. The second holds a buckled strap of something like leather. So we could enact the Rite of the Rack here. Increase your hearts at a cost of iron and mirrors. That definitely does not sound like us. Around the second depression, someone has cut the words, "Hang and give voice," into the ice. You can guess what you must do. That sounds terrible. We're just going to not do that thing. A spur of ice juts precipitously over the well. At the end of it sits a bandstand, worn by the wind. There the devils sing their hymns. Barely have to click twice on that one. The journey to the bandstand is bleak and exposed. The well waits on either side. If you look down, you imagine movement in its colliginous depths. A temptation wells in you to fling yourself from the ice and into the abysm. You avert your eyes swiftly. The thing in the well begins to howl, and the winds scurry in search of kinder spaces. It is a hollow, keening sound, the distress of something that can't believe it still has more to lose. The ice groans miserably. The devils struggle out in their wasted finery, out into the teeth of the wind. In a trudging line, they make their way to the bandstand. I lack the tools to decipher the meaning of this hymn, is a thing that we apparently know even before we hear it. The devils mount the bandstand and begin to sing. Their lips are motionless, their mouths hanging slackly open. Buzzing plainsong pours from their throats. The notes are scattered across the scale, creating only a tenuous harmony. Slowly, they begin to shuffle in what might be a dance. Its movements are performed only with the feet. Are they drawing an alphabet? Hieroglyphs? The well's wail drowns them out, but they persist. After some time, the well begins to waver. The wind slackens. Slowly, over the course of another hour, the well returns to quiescence. The devils, wearied, go back to their caves. Huh. The devils are using a dance alphabet in their services. This seems like quite a guess. We've gone out on a little bit of a logical limb here. But they seem to be able to sing the well. This is like beating the well in a dance-off. That's pretty strange. Decipher some of the dance alphabet of the devils. Fortunately, you have the presence of mind to take sketches of the steps. Wow, this is an expensive option. A moment of inspiration and a searing enigma, huh? I am awfully curious about it. I like to think Sister Patel would have something of a mind for language. Returning to your engine, you spread your sketches across your bunk and instruct your crew that you are not to be disturbed. You have learned a great deal in your travels. You are sure the patterns of the devil's dance are a crude form of the correspondence. The hymn itself, you think, is only inflection. By morning, you have assembled enough of a foundation to decipher the devil's next service. Also, we should probably investigate this bandstand. The bandstand is made from cast iron, modestly curlicued, and pitted by the harsh weather. You find the manufacturer's mark and date. The components were wrought in the promised days, just after London arrived in the heavens. While inspecting it, you feel the weight of the numberless fathoms below you. They pull at you. Perhaps, as a child, you dropped a stone down a less terrible well. Perhaps you listened for the sound of it striking the bottom. Now you imagine yourself as that stone, falling and falling. So hey, just add to the big list of things that SB is afraid of that he's had to admit during the series. I have a very serious fear of heights, and this idea is deeply unpleasant to me. Yeah, I like to think maybe Sister Patel... You know, criminals sometimes use codes. Maybe Sister Patel is very good at creating codes and breaking codes. And that sort of ties into a greater knowledge of language. There is something inside the well. Our iron gives us a 100% chance of success. We could take whatever this thing is. Hopefully it's not a cat. I don't really want to bring cats on board. The devils trail you to the lip of the well, their faces weighted with expectation. Something is yowling plaintively from the abyss. Something mortal and odiously off-key. You go on your stomach and lean over the edge, a hand thrust into the void. For moments there is nothing. Nothing but the noise. Nothing but the cold and the sense you've profaned something sacred. Then your fingers brush against fur. With considerable effort, you extract a round-bellied, snaggle-toothed, long-clawed lump of a cat. The devils are relieved at your success and insist you depart with the aggrieved feline as soon as possible. Great. Okay. Here's the deal, rats. I am not saying that it is okay for you to just kill this cat, but, you know, if you have to engage in self-defense, I understand. Okay, well now I have this cat. How helpful was that? If I approach the bandstand again, will they... No, the well is quiet. So we'd have to come back later and watch them do another dance, I guess? So that being the case, maybe we're done? Can we, if we try to speak to them now, is it... Nope. Still just the big eye thing, which is really something. Okay, you have seen and heard and perhaps done enough. It is absolutely, definitely time to go. Return to your locomotive, do battle the winds, or probably do battle with the winds, and return to the sky. Okay, well, that was useful. I think probably we're just gonna cut it here, and... Oh, no, wait. Probably what I should do before I before I end the recording is talk to our devil and see what he makes of the thing he had. Wow, we have a lot of options here. Oh, I guess we did fulfill a bunch of little quests for him. Okay. Let's debrief him on Carillon. He is simmering with the desire to comment. I honestly don't remember what we even did with him at Carillon. If I were younger, remarks the Repentant Devil, I would take that place from its current ownership and turn it into a fitting demonstration of the refinements of the soul. You! I could even work with you, if I turned your ribs to glass. And he's lost in a reverie, like a tailor seized with the vision of the ideal trousers for a particularly difficult client. When he recollects that you're still present, he adds, you may have noticed that they do not bother to prepare each soul to order. That's the real art, of course. Match the soul to its judgment. Oops. Hold on, you. We have a lot of other things to talk about here. So, perhaps he'll explain a little bit more about what's going on here. What his particular problem is. It was a waste, the Repentant Devil says. The protests, the peaceful fights, and the violent ones, we were never likely to win by those methods. You wait. Control what something consumes, he says, and you control what it is. The feeding of stars is a delicate art. I had spent centuries in cultivating them, studying their palates, watching for evidence of their responsive growth. I had influence. Now, how much can any devil say the same? That's a pretty wild story that you're pitching me there. Allow him to distract you from the unhappy topic of the Well of the Wolf. He's in the mood for something more carnal than conversation. He says he is curious whether his old skills hold. What is going on? Why does everybody want to fuck me all of a sudden? Okay, we're going to talk a little bit more. Surely you have more to say about our encounter with the Baroness. I used to live with her, he says. For centuries, before the Republic. She gave me a safe haven. I gave her the wreck of power. I had been something, and now I was not. You've seen how she is. She'll sit in the ruins of the brass embassy for a century if nothing dislodges her, feeding her babies on the pulp of diplomatic dispatches. On the topic of those babies, you rather thought you saw her eat one of her larvae as you were leaving. The uselessness and the hiding wore on me. Overthrowing the aristocracy was something to do. Huh. Okay, so assuming that we don't want to have sex with this devil, assemble the devil's evidence. 3 documents now lie on the table, ready to be deciphered and translated from the infernal tongues. Some words are visible only in the right light. So you need 3 panes of stained glass, which we totally have. We absolutely have in the bank. So we can, I guess, just go back to London and advance this. I guess I have to think a little bit about whether I want to do this. You think he would want to get down with the Clayman? Maybe we could just point them at each other and solve both of those problems? I don't know, man. I'll think about it. For right now, I'm going to cut the recording, and we'll be back in a bit. Okay, and we're back on the Eleutheria side of the Reach Transit Relay, and I've been thinking about the Devil's offer. And I think that Sister Patel is going to go for it. Here's what I'm thinking. He says he is curious whether his old skills hold. We know that because he said that to us, right? It's not like we have to go to his room. At some point, after the well, he just straight up propositioned Sister Patel, and I think probably she was like, oh, like a little surprised. You know, she had not been thinking of that. She's kind of eyes on the prize right now. But you spend an awful lot of time in the sky, you know? Some of these voyages are weeks long. And I think at some point, perhaps to escape having to go to sleep, she would be like, you know what, let's give that a try. That is intriguing. I think the curiosity would win out. So, let us allow the devil to distract us from the unhappy topic of the Well of the Wolf. Demonstration match, huh? He whispers a command that makes you draw breath. In, more than your lungs should hold. Your ribcage vaults like a cathedral. Your sight blackens. Your mouth tastes like a phoenix on fire. Then, all that you are holding too tightly passes from you in a curl of incense smoke. After this lustration, he too uncoils. Winged, burning, elliptical. This being could throttle a volcano, could summon back a comet from Aphelion. The joke and the pleasure of it is that so much should be focused on you, and that you should be able to endure it, which is his doing too. Okay, that's a little more intense than I thought it was going to be. Is that sex? Did we... It's not 100% clear. Well, we did something. The Repentant Devil has become your lover. The joke and the pleasure of it is that so much should be focused on you, and that you should be able to endure it. I'm never sure with this game whether it's just flowery language or whether something rather stranger is being described in a more direct way. But okay, we had an experience there, and it's lowered my terror for some reason. Okay, now let's do the other thing. We have the evidence. I went and got some of our panes of stained glass. I figured when we pick back up in Eleutheria would be a good time to do this. If it turns out we have to go back to the Reach or Albion for something, we'll just get it when we get it. I'm pretty sure we're going to have to go back to Albion to talk to the Queen anyway, at some point, right? Sorry, not that Queen, our Queen. So, hold on. Ask more about rebelling against the judgments. Did we do this before? Yes, okay, we totally did. I guess I'm as filled in on his story as I'm getting. Okay. Assemble the evidence. 3 documents lie on the table, ready to be deciphered and translated from the infernal tongues. I imagine Sister Patel's starting to get pretty good at that. He looks as pleased as you have ever seen him. It takes some hours to sort the matter out, but it becomes clear in the end. I have the measure of my attacker now, he says. If I were a younger devil, I would even be flattered. My old abilities are in demand. The Son of the Blue Kingdom has put out a reward for the first person to kidnap me and bring me under guard to Skybarnet, there to assist in the service of its appetites. Huh. Well, okay, well, what would you like to do about that, is my question. We could offer him passage to his new home, or offer to drop him off somewhere else. We cannot offer him safe haven aboard. I did not make him rebellious enough. I think the choice we made at the Well of the Wolf took the wind out of his sails a little bit. Okay, well, we could offer him safe passage to Skybarnet, where he would be able to serve the judgment. It would not be so terrible to have a friend in the Blue Kingdom. Or offer to drop him off somewhere safe. I don't think this is where he wants to go. I think probably he wants to meet whatever's going on here head on. Some people would consider this submission, the Repentant Devil says, leaning back in his chair. Obeying the command of a judgment after all that has happened, after all they have destroyed. But it is different for him. To the Repentant Devil, it is a return, a reinstatement, a glorious recovery from exile. Okay, well then I guess we'll try to take him to Skybarnet. I imagine we're going to have to go to the Blue Kingdom at some point. We probably, we'll have a look around the Blue Kingdom and see if we can pick up another signaler before we drop him off. It sounds to me like he's going permanently. If we had stoked his rebellious impulses, I think we'd probably be able to keep him on in an upgraded state. But I think we sort of failed that quest. Alright, so what we need most to do here is go to Piranesi. However, we do have some other business. I am still curious about Langley Hall. And we have reason to believe that there is another... It's weird that that's filled in all the way in the darkness. We do have reason to believe that there's another dock somewhere still, right? I think let's go to Pan, but let's go through here. See if we can discover something new, perhaps. Okay, so what are we... Yeah. Go this way. We don't have a ton of fuel to play with. I guess maybe I should take the most direct route. Whatever, we'll just... We'll go fast. We won't stop for stuff. They sell fuel and supplies at Aklis, right? Maybe we should just go to Aklis. I think we can make it. I think we can get to Pan. So at this point, we have an awful lot of reasons to end up in the Blue Kingdom, and I think that probably the Princess's story is going to take us there next as well. The Tumid Heart. Okay, that was not a gunshot, that was just a wind. It's kind of an inconvenient wind. Oh hey, the Burrower's breath. What do you know? It's the Burrower again. He would love it if we would sacrifice some of our crew. Our fortune gives us a pretty good chance of success, and we could actually afford to lose 3 crew here. But the thing is, we acquire the Burrower's Wrath constantly just by moving from map to map. It's never going to be enough, right? It's not like this is a one-time sacrifice we can undertake and then we wouldn't have to deal with it again. So I'm going to decline. Even if we do this sacrifice, we're just going to end up with the Burrower's Wrath again anyway. We're good enough at driving. I will say I kind of want to do something a little bit mechanically different with each character, and I think we are getting something useful, or we're getting something new out of the experience with Sister Patel here, but it's hard for me to imagine wanting the next character not to have very high mirrors, because mirrors seems really important. I guess we can afford to send the caveat. It's not like our supplies are the thing we're going to be limited by anyway. Okay, he discovered something way the hell out there. That's not really that helpful. I bet we wouldn't be having this problem with the Retronaut. The distant shriek of a scribe spinster. What's the crew getting all upset about? At this point, we've probably killed at least dozens of those things. Okay, a Griever. Oh, additional Griever. Hey, that one actually did damage. That's weird. They weren't doing any damage when they were hitting us before, right? We're close enough to Pan now that I'm not too worried about running out of fuel. Trade Visions of the Heavens for a moment of inspiration and experience. Yeah, let's do this. And then we will, if we can get this other one to stop running away, we will fight him. And, oh! Are they reproducing? I was gonna say we could recover our, Oh, apparently we will not, in fact, be recovering any hull here. Alright, well, I'll do this. We have so many Visions of the Heavens, and they don't seem to do anything at all. Okay. Hopefully we can recover hull off of this one. Nope, that sucks. Well, once again, I will trade Visions of the Heavens for a moment of inspiration. Nice to have a bunch of those. I pushed it. Nah, we're pretty close. We're pretty close, and we're not even actually into the last barrel of fuel yet. I think we should be okay. Ooh. Forgot to even detonate the projectile. I was so worried about getting hit by that. And to be perfectly honest with you, fighting these guys is like barely even valuable. Because what are we going to get? A bronze wood. I mean, I guess, like, I'm talking about money like it has no value at all. It sort of feels that way, but you can only act like money has no value at all for so long before all of a sudden you find that you spent all your money. Yeah, alright, go get that bronzewood. Bronzewood's valuable, too. Okay, now we really do need to go dock. And we're very, very close to level 19. So we need We need 5 veils and 5 mirrors, pretty badly. Or rather, 5 veils and 5 mirrors will take us to thresholds for those stats. And the mirrors would be useful immediately, because we'd get our Ratronaut. The veils... I don't think we actually have anything that we need 75 veils for. Like, in theory, it probably would be helpful to have 75 veils, but I don't actually know what we would do with it. So probably we will prefer mirrors on this next level up. I wonder what hour it is here. Our terror's a little high, our hull is sadly a little damaged. I'm not going to trade a mystery for 10 hull, though. We'll just try to repair off of a griever. Apparently we have to take that a little bit more seriously when it appears. It is the Hour of Trumpets, when devils roam the streets. Prisons are forbidden in Pan. Instead, those who aggrieve other citizens too persistently are branded with the calf sign. Then, during the Hour of Trumpets, the Brazen Brigade hunt. Their quarry is supposedly only those bearing the calf sign, but when the devil's blood is up, they don't always discriminate. Okay, I want to spy on the hunt. Damn it. I lost a heart, man. Permanent stat loss. Devils do not hunt with hounds. How then did they catch your scent? Can they, as some say, smell sin? Their trumpets scream. The hooves of their silver horses hammer like drums. Every door is closed to you, every window barred. You hide behind broken walls and in shadowed groves. Always they find you. By the time you make it back to your engine, you are ragged and bleeding. That night, and for many nights after, you hear trumpets. Yeah, losing stat points permanently totally sucks. So let's visit the Cypress King. Do we have port reports? I guess maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe we should hold on to them for the Eagle's Empyrean. Whatever. We could exchange knowledge for a Searing Enigma. We actually have quite a few Searing Enigmas, and I kind of think I want to hold on to the Moments of Inspiration more. What we really desperately need to do here is grab a whole bunch of fuel and supplies. Okay, and also we need to use the bank. Let's throw all this garbage in the bank. You know, I went to Lustrum while we were in the Reach. Sometimes your hull just ends up full of hours without you even trying. Alright, are there any interesting things at the Bazaar? Seeds to Aklis. Bombazine to the House of Rods and Chains, to the north-northeast of Pan. Okay, I'm down with that. We will probably go to Aklis at some point. So, 3 rolls of Bombazine, was it? Okay, we definitely have that. I'm sure we're going to get extremely paid on this one. And then we still need to take seeds to the mausoleum. I did pick some up. I wasn't trying particularly hard. But we have enough to do that. And since it's a special prospect, I kind of want to hold on to them for that purpose. 5 sacks of verdant seeds would be a good start. I mean, in order to get to the mausoleum, we have to go back to the Reach anyway. We'll have plenty of opportunity to pick them up. Let's just go ahead and take these on board. We're not actually going to Aklis, though. We're kind of going the opposite direction. Do I want to hold these for now? No. We'll worry about this later. We are not going in that direction. Okay, that being the case, I think we're actually all set to leave again. I just needed to refuel and resupply. Hold on a moment. We should look at the purple quality equipment here. So the Cotterell and Hathersage Golgaduza shotgun. Assuming this is effectively a shotgun. Oh, see, this is a large weapon slot item, though. Okay, all of the purple weapons are large weapon slot items. Well, the Caminus Yard Saintfire is a Veils at 75 weapon. How close is our iron to 75? It is currently 67. And mirrors will give us, like, the best possible mine. Well, I'm pretty curious about this, if I'm being honest. Damage 4, heat 6. How is that? How does that compare to, like... Sorry, this thing. Okay, it's the same heat ratio. It has a better range. Ah, but it has to go in the large slot. We have a small slot here, right? Yeah. Okay, I think we're probably fine with the weapons we have then. And the Gates of Ivory. Okay, extra hold space at 15. Is this a... This is a bridge slot. Our support slots are being used for other things. Okay, you know what? We might just be done with gear upgrades then. I can't imagine... We could probably get to Iron 75. Do we have an officer who is plus 10 Iron? Oh, yes, we do, and he's equipped. Okay. They're equipped, rather. Alright, one more thing I just want to look at real quick. Okay, no, never mind. Never mind, we're good. We have been told the location of the port we were missing. Let's go find it. And then from there, probably to Piranesi, because I know it's not going to be too far away. So north-northeast. Oh, over by the terrifying sun. Sure, that makes sense. Northeast. So it could be here. But it could also be beyond the sun. Man, I don't want to go back over there. Alright. We're going. Maybe we could blow up this sun too. Maybe that can be our character's whole new ambition, is we just destroy every sun. Fits with my own personal ambitions. I'm starting to take a shine to this idea. So how close are we to a level up? 750-ish experience. I have not been keeping track, by the way, of how much XP we get for just fighting enemies. Alright, we gotta remember about those things, because there are still those guys, the Undeparted. We have no idea how to fight them, or honestly, even really how to dodge their attacks. Alright, let's start by swinging this way a little bit. Maybe it will be... Did it say far or anything? It just says to the north-northeast. So we have had prospects say that things were far in a direction. Maybe that will mean that it's just like right over here. Let's see if our intrepid cabbie can tell us anything. Well, he found something way the fuck over there. That's almost certainly not it, right? I certainly wouldn't call that north-northeast. That's just north. Alright, buddy, you want to try that again and maybe go in the direction that we're facing right now? Be wary, Captain. Grievers slumber here. I'm fine with that. So it looks like this is not, also not a dock. We've definitely already been there. It is going to be up by that huge eyeball. And it's not... I'm not even afraid of it for, like, game reasons. It didn't damage us or drive our terror up or anything. I just don't want to see it again. Okay, yeah, we're not going to find a dock anywhere around here. Let's go ahead and go to the thing the cabbie sighted up above us, and then I guess we're headed into the distant dark. I had such hope. Well, that's definitely not north-northeast. That's east-northeast. Oh, hey, even more curator eggs. You know, we never do see a bunch of rocks just, like, occurring in a formation like this, except when there's a curator's egg between them. I wonder if the curators have to, like, drag a bunch of sky debris together. Doesn't seem like a naturally occurring formation at all. We should have bought more supplies, because I knew I was going to have to send out the scout a bunch. Oh well. If we end up not having it, or not finding it and having to return to Pan and get more supplies, it's not the end of the world, I suppose. I wouldn't mind seeing a curator out here, though. Or a griever. Basically, just anybody that we can fight for some actual benefit, as opposed to, like, dowsers and undeparted. Okay, well, he found something all the way over there, which is not that helpful. Alright, so let's turn left. We'll scout this tiny little area. It turns out pretty small areas of darkness can conceal things of great import. So let's pierce this one really quickly, and then my plan is to go up and around the outside, away from the sun. And we know the sun is not the dock, right? This is not purely cowardice. Also, there's a good reason. My kingdom for just like a little mini-map in the corner. Okay. Well, we've been pretty thorough here. You know what? I would even equip something in a support slot. To just let me have a mini-map in the corner so that I can see where the hell I'm going without having to constantly tab down. And believe it or not, I actually do it less when recording than I do when I'm flying by myself. It's part of the reason that it takes me forever to get anywhere. Just patience is not one of my strong suits. Alright, how far do you think we need to get before it starts making sense to send the caveat again? We do have to be a little cautious about it. Usually I try to stay higher on supplies. Something stirs in the dark. Or was it the dark itself that moved? Yeah, probably. Probably both. What does that sound? Is it music? Well, this is definitely weird. I guess this is the dead sun. Oh, I hear the spook. I hear a spooky thing. I think we're about to get undeparted on in a second here. Ah, yes, the House of Rods and Chains. A ruined palace atop a rotting messenger. Oh, my. I thought those were just rock at first, but, no, that definitely appears to have a somewhat biological suggestion. Well, yeah, you put the dock by the mandibles? Okay, hold on, we leveled up. Let's do this before we go in there. So my feeling is mirrors, right? Although now we do know that we need some veils. Although we don't have anything that gives major veils anyway. Yeah, let's go ahead and take this. This will reduce our nightmares, which I guess is fine. We may want to intentionally take on nightmares in an attempt to get that weapon, but we don't have to do it right now. Along with dear friends and acquaintances, you have formed a tightly bound clique of free spirits. Finding the prevailing opinions of society stifling, you sought solace among more congenial company. What shared interest brought you together? A love of art or a thirst for adventure? I think we're a little bit more a thirst for adventure. You are all captivated by the unlikely, the unwise, and the unnecessary. Why did they do it, people ask, of your latest antics? The answer is simple. Because you could. Okay, so now, next time we are back in a major port, we can get the Ratronaut out of the bank and equip him. Vast, desolate, broken. Once, this creature flew majestically through the heavens. Now it floats in silence, a monument to a judgment's wrath. This is what we're taking the devil back to? A thing that could kill the... It's a crab, right? Or is it some kind of tick, maybe? It's got crabby claws, but the mandibles... I guess I don't really know what a crab's face parts actually look like, I'm realizing. Now let's examine the Spire of Inches. 7 obsidian spires once stretched into this sky. Only this one remains. Dim light oozes through a single window at the top, occasionally flickering as someone or something passes in front of the fire. Oh, we could present golden amber to the Spire as tribute if we had enough. We could present it with a searing enigma, which is not easy to get. We just knock on the door. Something tells me that's not going to work. Alright, this is a place that I think is pretty impressive seeming. Let's offer them some impressive tribute. Distinguish ourselves from the rest of the Sky Captains, maybe. A word spoken by a son. The keeper of the Spire will be eager to pass this intelligence to its master. Tribute accepted. Behind it, 777 steps wind up the wall, leaving an open chimney in the middle that would be ideal if you had wings. At the very top waits a hunched figure wrapped in gauze. Are you friend, I wonder, or foe? No matter. You may call me Mr. Barleycorn. You have proven yourself resourceful. Let's see if you can also be useful. You are in a room of sorts. It is bulbous in shape, not unlike a kidney. Sorry, so like we're on the inside of a kidney? The furnishings, if that is what they are, look like the work of a surrealist. This straight-backed, many-legged edifice is perhaps a chair? That oily surface, a table, or an altar. Behind it, the hunched gauze figure stands looking out at something far away, a black sun. The darkness squirms. Yes, it does do that sometimes. What exactly did you mean when you asked about me being useful? There were 7 of us once, outcasts bound to this messenger's service. But the messenger defied the Haved's command, and the Haved slew it. We were free. My colleagues fled, but I remained to serve the Haved. The creature sighs. Don't mistake this for more than it is. I am not lonely, it spits the word. But our shapeling guests downstairs are poor conversationalists. It has been a long time since I spoke to any of my kind. If you find one, show them this. It hands you a wax seal imprinted with a sigil. Collect their stories. Perhaps advise them I would not resent a conversation, should the wings of fate allow. It has been a while since I spoke to any of my kind. Am I supposed to know what his kind are? Maybe he could, unwrap the gauze a little bit and let me know what's going on here? Okay, let's have a look at that, table thing. Its surface ripples oleaginously at your approach. You touch the surface. The world twists, and there is only darkness and water and cold and drowning. You kick your feet, thrashing to the surface. Impossible. The sky with its false stars, the green glass expanse of an ocean without waves. This is the Neath, the vast subterranean cavern in which London lay before climbing to the heavens, and the cold black waters you are thrashing in are its Untersee. Freezing water, thrashing legs, absolute darkness except the dim glimmers of false stars above. The Z stretching out forever under a stalactite sky, dark and deep and unforgiving. We have no choice but to swim for land. But which way is London? The avid horizon? Port Cornelian? The Z is wide and deep and lonely. It does seem unlikely that shouting for help would be actually helpful. I mean, keep your head straight, right? We're not actually anywhere. We're just standing in that weird kidney room touching that weird altar, so I guess let's shout for help. Let's see. Your voice is hollow, swallowed up by the cavernous Neath. Okay, well, I don't have any choice but to swim for land. Give up? I'm guessing that nothing's gonna happen here. We're just gonna have to give up, and when we would die in the vision, we will be snapped back. You let yourself go limp. Let the water into your lungs. Exhausted, the Z embraces you. Water covers your eyes. It fills your lungs. The currents of the Z tug gently at first, and then more forcefully. The pain of drowning gives way to a softer agony of unconsciousness. In the darkness, an eye. It opens, and the world is upside down. The You fall to the floor of Mr. Barleycorn's study, coughing up water. The gauze-wrapped figure barely looks up from a spindly instrument that resembles a driftwood harp. Do be careful what you touch, it advises, plucking at an oily string. Okay, that was pretty much what I thought it was going to be, except that we are coughing up water that we definitely weren't in, so it's not, like, appreciably weirder than the rest of the stuff that happens to us, but it's still pretty weird. Well, we could consider Eleutheria's black sun. The window of Mr. Barleycorn's study frames it perfectly. The sun writhes. A flicker of fire escapes its coils, only to be dragged back and quenched. This is just going to gain us terror, right? And maybe a vision of the heavens. I guess we are low on visions of the heavens now. Yeah, alright. My lord, the halved. Once judgment of measures and distance, Mr. Barleycorn bows to it. He knew of London. He beheld it through a wound in the world. We reached out and set his mark on those who trespassed on the wound. They became our messages, and when they found their way to the skies, their marks led them here, to the land of do as you please. The creature examines you. Would you care for one? A mark? I have one or two left. Except the mark. What could be the harm of that? Here's the thing, I don't really want to be associated with the halved. I don't want to have to come back here. It is said that the eye-marked end up freezing at Avid Horizon, banging on its impenetrable door. I'm not super into being marked by people. You know, thanks but no thanks. As you wish, says Mr. Barleycorn, returning his gaze to the black sun. Okay, maybe we could just leave you alone with your big creepy son. And then back to the Carapace. The air tastes of salt and rot. Up close, the carcass of this ancient crustacean resembles a battlefield. Its carapace is pockmarked from the impacts of space detritus, and cracked open from the impact of 6 spires. Doors of leather, rubber, chitin, scale, fur, flesh, and feather lead inside, each of them carved and branded with a letter of the correspondence. All of the doors except the chitin door are tightly closed or too high to reach. Chitin door is slightly ajar. That's interesting. Let's have a look around before we go opening any magic doors. Obviously magical doors. The surface is desolate. It is littered with obsidian blocks from the fallen spires. Here and there, a large piece of space debris has torn up part of the carapace and exposed the flesh below. Even that is desiccated now, and cold as any rock. None of the damage you find looks like something that could be fatal for a creature of this size. Okay, what about these ruined spires here? 7 obsidian spires once stretched into this sky. Only this one remains. Okay, that's how we get, yeah. Alright, well. Curiosity would eventually get the better of us. It takes every last drop of your strength, and the chitin door fights you all the way. It is as thick as armor plating, and almost as heavy. Inside, 100 rubbery men carefully ignore your arrival. Refugee Londoners you recognize, the giveaway being their hats on their tentacled faces, and the yellowing copies of the Gazette under their clammy armpits. Such earnest social camouflage never helped them fit in with society back home, but it seems old habits die hard. So, yeah, rubbery men are like... they're tentacled. Are they like squid people? They sure are. The rubbery men have taken over this spiral-shaped atrium. They gather here to trade amber and share songs of share songs of loss and regret. Its shape gives it excellent acoustics. The songs resonate from the walls, doubling the volume and timbre of their voices. I feel like we've been seeing a lot of stuff, reading a lot of stuff, I guess, about songs and music lately. And there's definitely like a theme of that running through the whole game, right? With the chorister bees and who gave them their voices and whatnot. But it feels like a lot of it very densely, very recently, doesn't it? Well, I suppose let's start by compiling a port report. You can never go wrong with one of these. The rubbery men are far from home, even for the high wilderness. The rubbery men show little interest in you as you explore. They shuffle around on their own business, polishing and cleaning and preserving the corpse of the house with equal parts elbow grease and embalming fluid. Hey, here's a question that you can't answer, but I'm going to ask out loud anyway. The guy who sells the rubbery lumps at Whirlbury, is he a rubbery man? Are they lumps that are made by rubbery men? Or are they lumps that are made of rubbery men? I can't remember what the text says now, but we sure have eaten a lot of them. Okay, well, let's visit their marketplace. If they are selling a thing that appears to be rubbery lumps, then we can just immediately feel better. The rubbery men sit around the edges of the atrium, ready to trade and offer their services. Polished ivory bones carve the walls of the throat into convenient alcoves. Each has been appropriated by one or more rubbery men, squatting on Hessian mats and running stalls inspired by their time in London. They trade in amber, a naturally exuded substance of their kind, making trade more ceremonial than commercial. Okay, well, we do have some amber. We can also trade some of our mysteries for amber, but I don't know that I think that's a good idea. We only have 3 mysteries right now, and sometimes we suddenly need a bunch. One rubbery trader has a particularly large stall. Its wide array of goods are mostly worthless. This rubbery trader sits on a mat strewn with oddities. Baubles, novelties, trifles, curios, gewgaws, beads, bagatelles, whatnots, and junk. If there are diamonds hiding in this particular rough, they are likely glass beads with pretensions of value. However, treasures have been found in the unlikeliest of collections. So we could trade amber for a random trade good. Up to 5 of it, apparently. Let's see what specific goods he has available. At first glance, there is little of note. Second and third glance confirm this. While there are some trade goods from the High Wilderness itself, most of the rubbery trader's collection consists of familiar London goods of little worth. A guide to breeding heptagoats, an old permit for the Echo Bazaar, counterfeit, and a poor one. Nothing of any particular interest. What is a heptagoat? I mean, I know what hepta means, and also I know what goat means, but like... Okay, well, we would need... We need a chunk of red amber and 2 chunks of blue amber. We don't have any blue amber. Okay, here we go. You pay for an evening's rest to lower our terror with 3 chunks of red amber. Fuel for 2 red, a blue, and 2 green. Sample the rose-cheeked cook's wares. The rubbery men cluster around this alcove, squirming with delight at the steaming delicacies in the chipped porcelain dishes. Oh, interesting. Commingle your choirs with a rubbery man. In old London, society condemned close interactions with the rubberies. We've definitely seen some stuff about the commingling of choirs recently. So we haven't found a lot of green or blue amber. We have like some orange and some gold or some white or something like that. But apparently that stuff's not actually useful. That's weird. The rubbery men are gathered. They lower their heads and raise their voices. Okay, I'm interested in whatever their weird belief system might be. Words without language, pain without end. They sing of their lost home, and in waves of shared sorrow they remember how they came to this place. They sing and remember. Silence falls, sudden and heavy. A hunched figure shuffles through the choir, and the rubbery men fall back. This is Mr. Barleycorn, or so it is called by lesser beings. Its form is indistinct beneath layers of gauze that wrap it, if not from head to toe, then at least from top to bottom. One rubbery dares approach, extending tribute. Golden amber. The figure takes it between clawed appendages, tastes it, appears to approve. We have some golden amber, right? Maybe. We could offer passage to a rubbery man. I mean, we got room on the train, right? Not all of them are happy here. They mumble of opportunities in Pan. I'll take you where you need to go. The rubbery passenger hurries to your train as if fearing you might change your mind. It travels light. A newspaper, a hat, a packed lunch, squirming in a paper bag. Please don't open that in front of my crew. He just wants to go to Pan? I mean, okay, we can do that. Shall we descend deeper? I guess we should. You notice I've been putting it off, though. The house's arteries are the size of corridors, many of them filled with stagnant sweet water and held open with arches of bone ivory. The walls are primarily polished chitin that resembles mahogany, though years of rot and decay have left many gaps to glimpse the dried-out fat and muscles behind. Well, we're not just going to climb straight back up. I mean, we came down here for a reason. The rubbery men here are less civilized than their topside brethren. They wear no hats and carry no newspapers. Eyes watch you from within the walls. Well, let's just have a look around. If they've got something to hide, I have an interest in finding it, right? Your explorations lead through hardened sphincters that scrape your flesh. You squeeze through twisted doors designed to be opened by something entirely unlike a hand. The rooms down here are bowl-shaped, many half filled with water or unrecognizable fluid. Their doors are as likely to lead to ceilings or high up on the concave walls as anywhere convenient for you. Most are empty or piled high with rubbery waste. Man, you know, you could just shove that off the side of the crab into space, probably. The Shapeling Vats. Rubbery men head into the labyrinth of corridors and return with rainbows of damp amber. So they just, they excrete the amber. We don't think that the amber is, This thing said rubbery waste. So the amber is not, their waste products. Presumably. I guess it's all sort of a matter of perspective, isn't it? You carefully traverse a thin, treacherous path lined with endless, deep, slime-filled cavities and basins. All around, the rubberies work at refining and reshaping amber into new forms and colors. They pause only to stare unblinking at you until you move past, more awkward than hostile. So we could throw amber in the vats if we had enough. We have one chunk of soft amber. What exactly are they doing down here? The exact relationship between rubbery men and their amber remains their own business. In London, amber is all much the same. Here, they experiment, combining it with other materials to transmute it. A few flute excitedly as golden amber pours from the vats. It is the rarest and most beloved flavor. Sometimes amber emerges treacle thick and black as tar. The effort and resources that went into it is wasted. Sorry, do they eat it? Do they just give it to Mr. Barleycorn and he eats it? The effects of different substances will be the same for each captain, but they may not be the same for future captains in your lineage. Okay, that's interesting. We gotta find more amber. Let's go back over that little bridge to the Drowning Coils, and I suppose just head deeper in still. The path is treacherous, the floor is slick. The air hangs with resentment that becomes less civil and more feral as the light fades away. Getting kind of dangerous down here, I bet. The alkali-infused darkness burns your eyes. Down here, the rubbery men commingle in quivering colonies and leach from weeds that sprout from pools of viscous white ammonia. The only light comes from smoldering Apossian pyres, each attended by a rubbery chorus howling an endless lament. So we could spend some supplies to look for some more stuff. Hold on. Let's climb back up, because I would like to return to the broken Carapace. Okay, here we go. I want to go back to the shop. First of all, let's turn in the rolls of bombazine that we brought them. A retired Z-captain beckons you over. Birdie in my ear says someone at the House of Rods and Chains is looking for some nice material for new cloaks. The Z-captain who advised you of this opportunity is waiting outside the towering obsidian spire, his shirt open and revealing a blinking eye embedded in his flesh. Now I can make the master a worthy gift. Maybe then he'll free me. We should not have come here. This is bad. Sure, I'll take some bronzewood, why not? A muttering scavenger seeks out these abandoned homes and strips them of planks of bronzewood, which he sells to skyfarers. I do, in fact, have limited scruples. He's got us pegged right there. Okay, so we can buy fuel and supplies here. That makes me feel a lot more confident about spending a whole bunch of supplies on looking around for amber, and we have a ton of money on us. So let's go do that. Explore the shell. Alright, head back into the house. Descend deeper. Descend deeper. So, the cavern stretches out for days. Your chosen volunteers should be safe in their waders if they don't anger the feral rubberies. Comfortable, perhaps not. The 3 supplies and 5 crew sort of on the line here. The chosen crew splash out into the dark with a look that could politely be called resignation. Assuming all goes well, they will be back from their expeditions in a week. I don't have an option to just wait here for them. Alright, well, let's have a look around the cavern. The air down here is slowly melting the house's innards, collapsing lost rooms and corridors into one rank, endless cavity, lined with calcified abscesses. The foul liquid regularly rises to your knees. An itchy rash develops where it touches. Occasionally, your feet kick against chips of amber in the mire. There must be larger pieces here, but hunting for them is not a one-person job. Not one for a captain, at least. Okay, I guess we'll come back, even though I did say that I didn't really want to have to ever come back. Yeah, I guess we're done here, then? I think we've interacted with all of the things we can interact with. It's good to know what's here. It's good to know what the other dock is. I'm not sure that we actually got a ton of value out of this. Let's buy a couple more things of supplies, and I guess we'll just go to Pyrenessi and then a week. 17th. We'll go to Pyrenessi and then maybe come back? I think that's probably the plan here. Okay. The glow there looked for a moment like eyes opening, and I got a little panicked. So yeah, we'll fly over to Pyrenessi and then come back. And then we'll go to Pan. And as long as we stay away from that big eye, probably everything will be fine. Although we are getting a little bit of that red glow over here that usually means that things are incomprehensibly terrifying. Also, I'm trying to be lazy and just like use the thrusters instead of turning the ship. Not sure if that's actually helpful. You know, we can afford to fight some random guy. Especially because there's like a pretty non-zero chance that we'll be able to repair our hull off of him, right? That has often been the case with these guys. I probably shouldn't have done that. Well, he's almost dead. Turns out the star-maddened explorers don't really get more difficult as you move on. And no ability to improve the hull. Well, we found ourselves a faintly luminescent cage full of a moonstone idol. Alright, well. More visions of the heavens to transform into moments of inspiration later. You have entered the Collywobbles, where old servants of the Black Sun still linger. Is that what the Undeparted are? Are they old servants of the Black Sun? Oh, geez, I just realized what time it is. Okay, we'll go to Pyrenessi and we'll stop there, and then we'll start the next episode with conducting the business that we have to conduct there. Unfortunately, we can only save at ports, so we do at least have to undertake the flight. Time does kind of get away from me when I am playing this game in particular. Games in general, but this game in particular. We have a little bit of a trip ahead of us. So now that we know there are no ports around, do we even really want to send the caveat? I mean, I guess I want to find amber. I want to have the opportunity to get amber. There's something up there. Well, yeah, alright. Let's go see. What was it that almost detected us up here? Oh, okay. Hey, it just bumped into our train, so that actually tells us something. It is not the case that they are fading into and out of existence. Come on, get me away from it. It can just hold that eternally, huh? Hold that until you actually get close. A figure waits by the signpost. In silhouette, yeah, okay, we know the woman. No favor ever came without a price. I think at this moment... Oh, it'll give us a moment of inspiration, though. Yeah, accept a gift of wit. I don't remember how we had to pay this back last time. Maybe this would be a good time to try to kill one of these. We're in a pretty limited area, like, it can't really get away from us very easily. We will kind of know where it is. Oh, it's sort of stuck, too. That's pretty good. How did I miss that? Oh, I bounced it out of the corner there. Shoot. Bad, bad, bad. Okay. They do hit pretty hard. I'd love it if we didn't die here. I dodged the wrong way. Come on, get me away from it. Okay, okay. Everything's fine. It is sort of, like, listless, huh? It's not really, like, going after us. Okay. Wow, that dealt damage to me. This sucks. Yeah, when it just holds on to that and chases you, that's rough. Is it dead? Or how was it not dead before, with its tatters of flesh and its bared bones? There is, admittedly, rather less of it now, but is that enough? As you watch, parts of it fade from sight. The touch of your lamplight reveals them again, but it is enough to make you wonder if it is there at all. Which is true, the presence or the absence? Well, we can harvest its bones for hull, thanks to our canning equipment. We could pry out its eyes to try to gain gemstones, or we could burn it. Our terror is not really in that bad of a spot. We could really use the hull. Its bones look strong. Let's try to pry them out and brace the hull with them. And we do have good high mirrors. So 15 hull. Your crew set reluctantly to work. The bone saws sing. That was a pretty crappy amount of hull, considering how much we lost fighting the damn thing. Okay, well now we know approximately how tough they are, and the answer is too tough to be worth fighting in general. Especially given that they don't seem to chase you very far if you just run. And they're always actually there. They just become invisible. Was it staying visible throughout most of the fight because I kept shining my light on it? Is that what was happening? Or maybe, like, once you damage them a little bit, they lose the ability to fade out. I suppose either one of those is possible. We were hitting it with the light a bunch. Oh, this is bad. Well, let's hope we don't get grabbed by another one, because I don't really have the hull for that. We might have to go from Piranesi down to the Empyrean just to repair. Up above this. Well, I don't hear any of that horrible clicking sound they make, so we might be okay. Yeah, that was like pretty much an ideal circumstance. It was very constrained there. It couldn't just get away from us. We could keep an eye on it and keep it lit up. And even then, we got kind of torn apart, so probably we're just going to run away from them for now, especially since it doesn't seem like you can loot anything cool from them. Alright. Well, we made it, and we're mostly alive. So this is going to be where we hold off for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Come back next time tomorrow to see what the princess is after and maybe move our ambition forward a little bit. And we'll see you then.